This week we were to choose a book from the Coretta Scott King Award winning books, and so I chose this book, Knock Knock, My Dad's Dream for Me. Um, so this book is by Daniel Beatty, and the illustrator is Brian Collier. Um, this is a fiction book, and there's 40 pages, and the appropriate age for this book is 5 to 6 years. And so this book was about this young boy and how his dad came to wake him up every single morning by saying knock knock, knocking on his door, and the young boy would pretend to be asleep still, and so the dad would come in and wake him up, and they would spend some time together. And then one morning that just stops, and then the next morning it doesn't happen again, and the next morning and the next morning, and so the young boy is confused and doesn't know what's going on or why his dad isn't there. And so the boy goes throughout his days sad and just like really leaning on his mom, wondering where his dad has gone. And so he writes his dad a letter one day saying that he's losing his memory of him, and he needs him to come home to teach him how to, shave, and teach him how to write with his ballpoint pen, and basically just how to be a man. And not too much later, he receives a letter from his dad stating that he was not going to be able to come back home, and that he told him, this is how you shave, and this is how you write with your ballpoint pen. And then at the end of the letter he says, knock knock down the doors that I could not. And so, towards the end of the story, the young boy turns into a man, and you can see through the illustrations that he is very successful. I'll show you this picture. He is a successful businessman. That's him. And he really does fulfill his dad's dream for him, which was to be, the man that he didn't get to be. And so this book doesn't come right out and say whatever happened to the dad. It kind of lets you decide maybe what happened to him. And so then when I went to read the author's note in the back, this author, Daniel Beatty, his dad, had gone to prison when he was younger, and he had gone to visit him, and it was a traumatizing thing, and so he wasn't able to go visit him in prison for a long time after that. And so he said the point of this book is to show how that affects a child through their point of view, and it's not only for people whose dads may have gone to prison, but also who may have passed away, or who are going through a divorce or something like that. And so my reflective personal response to this book, I think it was a great book, and it's a great read to share with anybody who may be going through this. And I think it's important for young kids to know that there's resources like this where you're not trying to be like, here's something that can help, but if they get to read this by themselves, it's kind of a helpful way to let them know that they're not alone, and other people are going through these situations too. And I just really agree with the author about this book, because people with an absent father may be confused or think that they can't really, be a man because they didn't have that role model. But I think that part of the book, knock knock down the doors that I couldn't. I think that's a great line, because then at the end of the book, he's a successful man, and I think that that's important for young kids to know if they're in the same situation. So for an activity, I would want the kids to write about the internal conflict that this young boy is having without his father being home to teach him all the things that he wants or needs to learn. And I would also want them to write about the feelings they felt while reading this book, and then tell me what they thought his father meant when he said knock knock down the doors that I could not. I think this could be a great lesson for any kid going through a similar situation. So I think writing individually would be best for this activity, just in case there is someone in the classroom who has gone through a similar situation, and it will allow them to express their thoughts and feelings in their own text with just me as a teacher reading them, and not doing a group activity where they might be more timid to share because it'd be in a group and not just a teacher. So I thought this was a good book, and it would be great to share with any kid who may be going through the same situation.